Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. Mark again here, Weatherman Plus. Good morning to all of you. Now, we have two systems still coming. I'm going to give you an update on the first one. It is bringing tornadoes, damage, and winds. Also, some flash flooding. We have this upper level low that's right over Eastern Pacific, right by California, and it is bringing some flash flooding towards Los Angeles. And we have potential for another one coming later after that. But the first system is bringing damage and winds. Big chances for tornadoes. Also, some very cold temperatures, freezing temperatures. But the next system, remember, this is two parts. It's going to be a back-to-back 1-2 punch. The next system is bringing even colder temperatures, and we'll have more severe weather on that as well. So I will give you as much detail as I can on what to expect and when to expect on this first storm. So remember, the best thing we can do to prepare for these storms is safety. Always preaching safety. That's the best way to go about anything. So help out the video, like the video if that helps you in any way. Share the video on social media. Let others know about this severe weather that is coming. Now, this is starting today, but tomorrow is going to pick up and be even more intense. And this is only part one of two parts. Now, a quick update on the disturbance in the Gulf. It is raised up to 40% chance of formation, but with this cold front coming down, it will keep it locked in place in the Bay of Campeche, western Gulf of Mexico, and still put a lot of precipitation towards Central America and Mexico. This is not going to form up into anything for the U.S. Now, for today, you will have thunderstorms in all of this green area in the south, especially for Florida as well. But your severe weather is just marginal up here in the upper Midwest and the Central Plains. It's not for tornadoes, it's for wind and chances for hail. I'm showing chances still 40 to 50 miles per hour wind gusts, maybe a little bit higher, especially over the Great Lakes. Now tomorrow, if you remember the tail whip is coming down towards the central U.S., Ohio Valley, and the south. And everybody in this green will see thunderstorms for tomorrow. But there is a big chance for tornadoes for tomorrow, a big marginal chance, but it is covering all the way from Texas all the way up towards Ohio. Big wind chance for damage and winds as well, a bigger threat. Also, you can see with the lightning strikes, a lot of chances for hail. We have a large chance for hail for tomorrow as well. So I'm going to time this out the best way I can. That way you can go along throughout your day with minimal impacts, guys. So your tornado threat for tomorrow, Wednesday going into Thursday, is going to affect Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Fayette, Kentucky. But remember, it's only a 5%, but the wind and the hail is covering a much larger area for tomorrow. And it is a really good thing that this system is not turning extratropical like the GFS is seeing that huge system coming all the way into our country. You can see right here with the NAM 3K, you can't see past 48 hours with HRRR, that Canada is getting all of this system, but we're going to get just a little bit of the tail whip. Just a little bit is going to create the severe weather. And for tomorrow, for that stretch out, you can see it don't do much, but that little stretch right there is creating the severe weather threat for tornadoes that we have for tomorrow. If this would have been something extratropical, it would have been way worse. And the setup will go towards the northeast, bring issues up towards there as well. But you also see as it dips down into the U.S., it is bringing a lot of strong winds. This is going to bring our damage and winds. Then as we go for tomorrow, it is going to bring a lot of chances for tornadoes on this tail whip. Getting a lot of shear on these cells as it swings by, especially for Arkansas. Look at this. And we can get some popped up for the southeast, but it's going all the way towards Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, because you have a system coming from the west to the east, bringing these winds. You also have this high pressure over here swirling all this tropical moisture from south to north and is bringing steering winds from south to north. So you're definitely going to have your two directions with height with these storms. And it's bringing a lot of chances for tornadoes and all of that brown. There's a lot of shear on this cells right in front of this system as it dips in for today and tomorrow as well. Now, as you look at your dew points, because you need this in the atmosphere to create your severe weather, you see for today, you start getting some strong dew points in the 60s, not chances really for tornadoes. This would be thunderstorms. This would be chances for hail as you go all night long. For tomorrow, then when this cold front pushes down, this is where the dew points raise all the way up to the high 60s and 70s. This is where your tornado threat is going to come into play. I don't see the threat going all the way towards Ohio. Can you see how weak the dew points are? They drop down to the 60s. However, National Weather Service does have that threat all the way up in this region. They are the meteorologists. There's something else that they see, guys. This is just the NAM. It's just a model run. But you can see how it comes down and it brings everybody in high 60 to 70 dew points. And that will create your severe weather and your possible tornadoes. Now, when you look at your CAPE, your convective available potential energy, your lift in the atmosphere, you can see you don't have a lot of lift for these thunderstorms that's going to be for the severe weather for today. You have some lift, so it will be some thunderstorms, but it's not showing tornadic, especially with the shear. For tomorrow, this is where that is going to pick right back up because you have all them strong dew points, and the south is going to get a lot of energy, a lot of lift to lift these storms up with the winds going from the south to the north, the west to the east on the higher elevations. It will get spin up, it will get rotation on these thunderstorms and chances for tornadoes. Then tomorrow is going to raise right back up. Now, most of these storms are going to be late in the evening, and a tornado threat could be nocturnal tornadoes. So as you look for today, you get a little bit of snow in the higher elevations, but you get these storms moving through Missouri, Illinois all evening long, even a little bit of Indiana and towards Michigan. Not really no big deal. But once you get into tonight, around 10 o'clock, it starts getting thunderstorms in Minnesota. The thunderstorms in Michigan starts getting a little rougher. Illinois, Nebraska, even Iowa and Missouri gets in on these thunderstorms all night long as they pass by. All the way till tomorrow morning, you're still going to have these storms coming down for the Ohio Valley. Now, this is not going to be tornadic for today, but it will be damaging winds. It will be chances for hail as well, so you need to be aware of that. For tomorrow, when those winds come down, it is going to bring a tornado threat. You're going to have cells coming all the way from the deep south all the way towards Ohio. And that's where you're getting shear on all these cells all night long. This is overnight now. We're already at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you still have some strong cells coming to the deep south. And they are getting some shear on these cells. So as you follow it, you can see that these cells start popping up right around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Start getting some strong cells over Missouri, some towards Arkansas. But once you go to tomorrow evening, then these cells really starting to get a lot of shear on them as they pass by northern Arkansas. Good chances for tornadoes, while everybody else getting thunderstorms, not a lot of shear on them. But as this moves through the evening, this is going to transform not only northern Arkansas, but it's going to go towards Kentucky and Tennessee, mostly western. But this is only by the afternoon, so you still have them tornado chances even for northern Georgia by 6 p.m. for tomorrow. You have a few cells passing through, and they are getting some shear on them, just that little bit. This cell and this cell is what you need to watch for these chances for tornadoes. But that's not the big event. As you go later in the evening, damaging winds coming in for everybody, but then it starts spreading out with each one of these cells getting some shear on them. And you can see the brown on them as this big front goes all the way from Ohio all the way to Texas, eastern Texas. And it stretches all the way down all night and all morning long. And you can see it is getting some shear on those cells as they stretch down. So each one of these little cells could get a spin up in front of this front. It's not the front that is the one you need to worry about. The front will bring the damage and winds. But the storms in front of the front is where all these storms are going to pop up and bringing you chances for these tornadoes, guys. But look at this big front of lightning strikes. This is where you're going to get your large hail from, especially for southern Minnesota as you go through tonight. Overnight hours, you get storms for tomorrow through Iowa, eastern Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, all the way to early in the morning for tomorrow. And you can see these white ones. All these white ones is a lot of lightning strikes and chances for hail. And that's for Oklahoma. And that is for overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow, when it sparks up for that tornado threat, you're going to get a big line of severe weather coming down. And you can see the chances for large hail with that as well. All that white in Arkansas. Arkansas really has a chance for some large hail and some tornadoes for tomorrow. 3 p.m., it starts moving in with thunderstorms in the south, but it starts getting really focused as that line comes through, especially for Alabama, Georgia. Y'all getting in on thunderstorms as well. So just be aware this front line is coming through, and it will go to the northeast as you go through Thursday as well, mostly along the coast, but you still have the severe weather threat. Now, you can only see the next 48 hours with high-resolution rapid refresh. And remember, all this green is all in the high 40s. The yellow is in the 50s on my ledge. 50 is yellow. Some of these maps that people show you, the 40 is in the yellow. So it's not widespread 50, 60 miles per hour wind gusts. You need to be aware of that. People just look for the worst case scenario. It's a lot of 40 miles per hour wind gusts. But higher resolution rapid refresh is picking up 50, maybe even 60 in the higher elevations of Montana, maybe even getting up to 70 for the higher elevations for Wyoming. It's just this area right here. It's not widespread. Everybody else is going to be in a 40 miles per hour wind gust, getting into the 50 for the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Kansas, maybe even the Panhandle for Texas. And this front is bringing high 40 miles per hour wind gusts to everybody in Ohio Valley as well. And the Great Lakes, mostly by Michigan, is where you're going to get in the 50s, maybe the high 50 miles per hour wind gusts. This is not widespread 60s like you've been told. Even the NAN 3K, which overdoes it just a little bit, isn't picking up any 60s, guys. It's widespread 40s. You need to look at the legend when people show you these things. Like I said before, you can see mine. The 40s is the bright green. The 50s is the yellow. And these other ledgers that people show you, the 40s is the yellow, and they're saying that it's widespread damaging 50s and 60s, and that's not true. It's going to be peaks of 50s in certain areas, and each model is showing a little bit different. It is a model. It's not what's actually going to happen minute by minute, but it gives you a good idea of what's coming in. So I would take them both together and say there's chances for 50 miles per hour wind gusts. 60 I'm showing so far is by the Great Lakes, and that's because it strengthens up as it goes over the water. That's about it. But this is the worst case scenario. 50 miles per hour wind gusts, maybe the middle of 50s, all along that front. So remember, if somebody shows you all of this in yellow, if they show you all of this in yellow, look at the ledger, you'll see that it is 40s. It's not 50s or 60s. And everybody is waking up to some very cold temperatures. All the blue is 50s. All this bright green is 40s. And you got the freezing temperatures, higher elevations, Wyoming, Colorado, New England states. And it is going to warm right back up for today. And then as that cold front comes down later tonight, it's going to bring some more 40s and 50s towards the central U.S., the upper Midwest, and towards the West Coast. A lot of 30s, higher elevations is 20s, maybe even teen temperatures for that. But you can see along the West Coast, you're going to be in the 50s as well. And you do have this upper level low, bringing moisture to the southwest. That could interfere for this part 2 of this storm system, this 1-2 punch. Then as you go for tomorrow, it's going to warm right back up. Then the cold air is going to come down for tomorrow evening. And we're talking getting into 20, maybe even a teen temperature, wind chills with this coming, and the 30s for everybody else. Then as it goes through Thursday, it's going to come a little bit deeper with those wind chills. Now a lot of people is in the 20s and the 30s on the feel-like temperatures is your wind chills. And it'll be all the way up to the intercoastal northeast and feeling like you're in the 40s and 50s in the south. Your actual temperatures isn't that much different, but with your wind chills, it brings in that little bit extra. And then after that, when we go Thursday and a Friday, when it starts going up towards the northeast, remember, it's only part 1 of 2. You will have thunderstorms and all this green for Thursday, but you have a little marginal of severe weather that's over here by Pennsylvania, Virginia, a little bit towards the northeast. Now, this is mostly affecting Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Arlington, Virginia, and Alexandria, Virginia. And this could grow into more. We're still a couple of days away from that. But this is bringing a lot of flash flooding as well. So for today, the upper level low bringing all that moisture over from the southwest towards the south, and it could affect Texas and everybody a couple of days down the road. But so far, you are in a marginal for flash flooding over here for California, mostly affecting Los Angeles, and this is for today. Now, this is going to grow as we go through tomorrow. This is going to affect the southeast because we have this front coming through. So you're in a marginal for flash flooding and all of this green for tomorrow. Then as we go through Thursday, it's going to grow for the northeast, and you're in a slight risk in the northeast for flash flooding. So all the way from Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, all the way towards the northeast, you're in a marginal with a big slight risk in this yellow. And this is for Thursday. This is for Thursday going into Friday when you get that severe weather. But remember, it's going to be a 1-2 punch. After we get this first round of severe weather for today, it's going to really dip in for tomorrow and bring all that severe weather all the way from Ohio, all the way towards Texas. And then it's going to go up towards the northeast and bring severe weather for them as well. But after the first one, it's going to spin around, bring a lot of snowfall for Canada, major snowfall, even some possible more damaging winds. But this upper level low is going to come in, feed precipitation to the southwest. You do have that flooding threat, and it's going to come in for the second one. And that second round of severe weather is going to cover a lot more area. We're talking about next Monday when some really cold temperatures are coming in. There's severe weather all the way from the northeast in front of the system, the southeast, all the way to the southwest. This whole region is going to be under watch. So far, by the time we get towards Saturday, by the 15th, it's bringing some more colder temperatures with that deep dip. But as you go a little bit further and you go towards the 17th and on, this is where it starts bringing the really cold temperatures. So on Monday, on the 17th, you're going to start having these 20s coming in. It's going to feel really cold, and it's going to come in even further as you go through the 18th. It is going to bring cold wind chills to a lot of the U.S., all the way down towards Texas. You're going to feel like you're in the 30s and 40s, and you're going to feel like you're in the 30s in the south. This is Tuesday on the 18th, bringing feel-like temperatures, your wind chills, in the 20s and 30s all the way down. And this will go towards the northeast as well. Not as huge, but it's widespread 30 feel-like temperatures. And you can see with your temperatures, it's not as bad, but the wind chill is what brings all those 20s and 30s up here in the north. The south, regardless of your wind chills, you're going to feel like you're in the 30s and 40s as this passes by. And this is going to affect the west coast as well. This is affecting the whole country with this temperature that's coming in, guys. Look at this temperature across the whole country by the time we go into next week, by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Still not bringing much snowfall for the U.S. in the next 10 days, a little bit for the higher elevations. Still major snowfall for Manitoba, Canada, some for Ontario and Quebec, Canada. You're bringing a lot of snowfall. According to the Euro, it's very little bit. This is 1 to 2 inches in this gray. Maybe northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, maybe Marquette, getting the most out of the snowfall. The GFS is showing a little bit more bullish, not too much, maybe a little more for the intercoastal northeast, a lot more for Canada, and I didn't go further. And the Canadian agrees that it's going to be mostly northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, Marquette, but maybe Michigan can get in on it. So it's a little bit of hit and miss, but it's mostly going to be the northern Great Lakes that's going to get any kind of snowfall whatsoever. Everything else is going to be in Canada. But thank you so much for visiting my channel. God bless you and your families. Hope you have a very blessed Tuesday out there. And thank you so much for help getting these warnings out to other people so they can prepare for the impacts. Maybe time they're traveling a little bit different, knowing what's coming. So I do appreciate it. Safety is the best way to go, and the best way to be safe is to be prepared. So thank you so much. John 16, 25 through 33. These things have I spoken unto you in Proverbs, but the time cometh when I shall no more speak unto you in Proverbs, but I shall show you plainly of the Father. At that day ye shall ask in my name, and I say not unto you that I will pray the Father for you. For the Father himself loveth you, because ye have loved me, and have believed that I came out from God. I came forth from the Father, and am come into the world. Again, I leave the world, and go to the Father. His disciples said unto him, Lo, now speakest thou plainly, and speakest no proverb. Now are we sure that thou knowest all things, and needest not that any man should ask thee? By this we believe that thou camest forth from God. Jesus answered them, Do ye now believe? Behold, the hour cometh. Yes, is now come, that ye shall be scattered, every man to his own, and shall leave me alone. And yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Amen. All glory does go to God, our Father in heaven. And may He keep you all safe. May He give you all wisdom so you know your best steps of what to do. I pray that for all of us. Amen. Hallelujah. Be safe. God bless you all. Have a great day.